Bharti Airtel Limited recommended a final dividend of Rs8. Shree Cement Limited recommended a final dividend of Rs55. Indian Railway Catering and Tourism Corporation Limited will recommend a final dividend, if any, on the 28th of May. Colgate-Palmolive, India Limited declared a second interim dividend of Rs26 and a one-time special dividend of Rs10, to be paid on or from the 7th of June, with the record date set as the 23rd of May, 2024. Oberoi Realty Limited recommended a final dividend of Rs2, to be paid from the 29th of May, with the record date set as the 23rd of May, 2024. The Phoenix Mills Limited will consider the recommendation of a final dividend on the 17th of May. Bharti Hexacom Limited recommended a final dividend of Rs4. AIA Engineering Limited recommended a dividend of Rs16, to be paid on or before the 8th of October. Tata Investment Corporation Limited will recommend a dividend, if any, on the 23rd of May. Appa Industries Limited recommended a dividend of Rs51. Apollo Tyres Limited recommended a dividend of Rs6. GT&D India Limited will consider the recommendation of a dividend, if any, on the 21st of May. Glenmark Pharmaceuticals Limited will consider and recommend a dividend on the 24th of May. Icon International Limited will recommend a final dividend on the 21st of May. Bayer Crop Science Limited will consider the recommendation of a final dividend on the 23rd of May. Radico Khaitan Limited recommended a dividend of Rs3, with the record date set as the 25th of July, 2024. BASF India Limited recommended a dividend of Rs15, to be paid on or after the 12th of August. Trident Limited revised their board meeting to the 18th of May to consider the payment of a first interim dividend, with the record date set as the 28th of May, 2024. Swan Energy Limited will recommend a dividend on the 30th of May. Shyam Metallics and Energy Limited recommended a final dividend of Rs2.70. Kirloskar Brothers Limited recommended a dividend of Rs6, to be paid on or before the 31st of August, with the record date set as the 26th of July, 2024. BLS International Services Limited recommended a final dividend of Rs0.50. PNC Infratech Limited will recommend a dividend, if any, on the 24th of May. Zydus Wellness Limited recommended a final dividend of Rs5, with the record date set as the 19th of July, 2024. Bombay Burma Trading Corporation Limited recommended a dividend of Rs1.20, with the record date set as the 9th of August, 2024. Bajaj Electricals Limited recommended a dividend of Rs3, to be paid on or after the 10th of August, with book closure from the 20th of July to the 6th of August. JK Tyre and Industries Limited will consider the recommendation of a final dividend on the 21st of May. Minda Corporation Limited will consider a final dividend, if any, on the 22nd of May. Safari Industries India Limited provided intimation of the record date for the final dividend, which is the 12th of July, 2024. JK Lakshmi Cement Limited will consider the recommendation of a final dividend on the 23rd of May. Galaxy Surfactants Limited will consider and recommend a final dividend on the 21st of May. Jubilant Ingrevia Limited recommended a final dividend of Rs 2.50, with the record date set as the 2nd of August, 2024. Archean Chemical Industries Limited recommended a final dividend of Rs 2, with the record date set as the 21st of June, 2024. Chemplast Sanmar Limited will consider the recommendation of a dividend, if any, on the 20th of May. Ganesh Housing Corporation Limited recommended a dividend of Rs 11. Edelweiss Financial Services Limited recommended a dividend of Rs 1.50. Lakshmi Organic Industries Limited will consider and recommend a dividend on the 21st of May. MSTC Limited will consider and recommend a final dividend on the 27th of May. Surya Roshni Limited recommended a final dividend of Rs 2.50. Arvind Fashions Limited will recommend a final dividend, if any, on the 21st of May. PDS Limited recommended the payment of a dividend of Rs 3.15, with the record date set as the 19th of July, 2024. Sudarshan Chemical Industries Limited may consider and recommend a final dividend on the 17th of May. Banco Products India Limited will consider the recommendation of a final dividend on the 29th of May, with a dividend yield of 5.77%. Thyracare Technologies Limited recommended a final dividend of Rs 18. KDDL Limited recommended a final dividend of Rs 4. Reco Home Finance Limited recommended a dividend of Rs 3. Damir Bharat Sugar and Industries Limited recommended a final dividend of Rs 1.25. Sagar Cements Limited recommended a dividend of Rs 0.70. Nilkamal Limited recommended a final dividend of Rs 20, to be paid on or after the 26th of July, with the record date set as the 12th of July, 2024. MPS Limited will consider and recommend a final dividend on the 21st of May, with a dividend yield of 3.11%. Mayur Uniquotas Limited will consider and recommend a final dividend on the 21st of May. Updata Services Limited will consider and recommend a dividend, if any, on the 20th of May. Amritanjan Healthcare Limited will consider the recommendation of a final dividend on the 23rd of May. Pratap Snacks Limited will consider and recommend a dividend, if any, on the 20th of May. SJS Enterprises Limited will consider and recommend a final dividend on the 22nd of May. Thames Medica Limited recommended a dividend of Rs 0.50, to be paid on or after the 22nd of July, with the record date set as the 12th of July, 2024. Ramratna Wires Limited recommended a final dividend of Rs 2.50, with the record date set as the 16th of August, 2024. IG Petrochemicals Limited will consider and recommend a dividend on the 22nd of May. BCL Industries Limited will consider the recommendation of a dividend on the 22nd of May. Wheels India Limited will consider the recommendation of a dividend on the 20th of May. Kitex Garments Limited will consider and recommend a final dividend on the 20th of May. Dynamic Cables Limited recommended a final dividend of Rs 0.50, with book closure from the 25th of July to the 31st of July. GPT Healthcare Limited will recommend a final dividend on the 21st of May. Amines and Plasticizers Limited will consider the recommendation of a dividend on the 28th of May. Magad Sugar and Energy Limited recommended a dividend of Rs 10 and a one-time special dividend of Rs 5. NDR Auto Components Limited will consider and recommend a dividend on the 21st of May. Specialty Restaurants Limited recommended a dividend of Rs 1. Tamil Nadu Petroproducts Limited recommended a dividend of Rs 1.20. Oriental Carbon and Chemicals Limited will consider the recommendation of a final dividend on the 22nd of May. 20 Microns Limited will consider the recommendation of a dividend, if any, on the 17th of May. Sinclair's Hotels Limited will consider the recommendation of a dividend on the 21st of May. Vikram Thermo India Limited will recommend a dividend, if any, on the 29th of May. Empire Industries Limited will consider and recommend a dividend on the 22nd of May. PTL Enterprises Limited recommended a final dividend of Rs 1.75. Kiran Valpa Limited recommended a dividend of Rs 1. Birla Precision Technologies Limited will discuss and recommend a final dividend on the 22nd of May. Asahi Songman Colors Limited will consider the recommendation of a final dividend on the 28th of May. Keltech Energies Limited recommended a final dividend of Rs 1.50. Rafala International Limited will recommend a dividend on the 24th of May. Moana Sugars Limited will consider the recommendation of a dividend on the 25th of May, with a dividend yield of 3.23%. Nitin Castings Limited will consider the declaration of a dividend, if any, on the 22nd of May. Superhouse Limited will recommend a dividend on the 30th of May. Kavilpati Lakshmi Roller Flour Mills Limited will recommend a dividend, if any, on the 22nd of May. Polycham Limited approved the payment of a dividend of Rs 30. Gujarat In Trucks Limited will discuss the recommendation of a final dividend on the 27th of May, with a dividend yield of 3.14%. BN Rathi Securities Limited recommended a dividend of Rs 1.50. Ansell Housing Limited will consider and recommend a dividend on the 29th of May. Hindustan Hardy Limited will consider the declaration of a dividend on the 22nd of May. NG Industries Limited will consider the recommendation of a dividend on the 23rd of May. Rosemark Limited recommended a dividend of Rs 0.10. Interstate Oil Carrier Limited will consider the recommendation of a dividend on the 23rd of May. NBCC, India Limited will consider and recommend a final dividend on the 28th of May. LSID Investments Limited will recommend the payment of a final dividend on the 21st of May. Orion Pro Solutions Limited recommended a dividend of Rs 2.50 and approved the issue of bonus shares in the ratio of 1:1, with the record dates to be determined. Gujarat Themis Biosin Limited recommended a dividend of Rs 0.25 to be paid on or after the 23rd of July, and approved the issue of bonus shares in the ratio of 1:2, with the record date for bonus shares to be intimated in due course. Andhra Paper Limited recommended a final dividend of Rs 10 and approved a stock split in the ratio of 1:5, with the record date for both events to be intimated. Camdhina Ventures Limited announced the intimation of the record date for the subdivision of shares in the ratio of 1:5, with the record date set as the 14th of June, 2024. Pashva Enterprises Limited announced a scheme of arrangements resulting in Samantha Impex Limited in the ratio of 3:10, with 3 shares of the resulting company to be credited to shareholders on the record date. Thank you for tuning in. Stay informed and subscribe for more updates. Thanks for watching. Please thumbs up if you like, subscribe, press the bell icon and never miss an update. Share and comment your thoughts on the comment section, and stay tuned with Corporate Actions India.